still want to make sure that you're getting the right people in here, but it is an aggressive attack. You have to be out there, putting yourself out there and saying, like, this is the reason why you need to be at this program. This is the reason why you need to be here. And it's not a used car salesman pitch. You still need to be genuine and you still need to be authentic, but you now need to be more aggressive and more strategic in how you do it, and in the manner that you do it too, because now from what it sounds like too, it's the windows are a lot smaller in terms of these negotiations.
Yes, which we will get to in a second when Fickell talks about agents. And
Yes.
From what I can gather, he doesn't really like dealing with agents. However, I actually, Jim, I'm a push back. I like that he acknowledges the fact that he didn't get into this profession to talk to players about money, because I think maybe, as you would say, a little Pollyanna-ish, like he wants people in for the right reasons. And I think that speaks to who he is as a or I guess it speaks to his character as a coach and as a person, that he would prefer players who aren't just in it for the money. But he acknowledges, that as he did in the last clip, that there are people who are in it, who want more money, who like Wisconsin, who want to play for championships in the Big Ten, so on and so forth. But that ultimately, that's not his goal. Like, he didn't get into this to talk to kids about, oh yeah, we're gonna give you $1 million. Yeah, I hope you get paid. Like, he wants to coach them up. He wants to get them to the NFL, and he wants to build relationships. And I think that's important. I think that's what makes a good coach, and that is one of the main reasons I still believe in Luke Fickell as the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers, because he's focusing on the right things. And now with this extra investment, with him and his staff and the department getting in on, hey, we got to pay players now. We needed a plan. We needed more investment, and they executed it. Now we need to see it on the field. And I think with that in place and with this extra investment, I think we will.
I hope you're right. I will say this before we get to the next clip here. Part of being the coach that I think Luke Fickell is saying he wants to be, as far as changing these young men's lives, is understanding that sometimes money is the most important thing, no matter how much you might want to go to Wisconsin. That some of these kids coming from backgrounds where they're the breadwinner already, and $10,000 can change the outcome of a family. So, and I'm not saying Luke Fickell isn't aware of that, but I think that he's just got to be. He's got to take every situation, and I'll trust that he is, every situation with every recruit as an individual thing, because otherwise, if you lump everyone in asking for money into the same pile, you might end up just, not on purpose, accidentally lumping someone in who's all about the money, when it's really, the money is very important. They don't have the luxury of choosing on where they want to go or where they're going to go. But let's get to the next thing here, and that's about closing the gap here between the haves and, right now, Badgers kind of the have-nots.
Making sure we understand we're not where we want to be, and it's just more so about a realization. Sometimes people, even people within our own program and team and coaches, and even fans. I mean, they think, okay, now that you are technically invested differently, that money solves all problems, and they don't. They can obviously help in some ways, and in this way, it helps us to get in the ball game and to be able to put some pieces into place. But this is the greatest team sport known to man, and talent doesn't just win games. And so we got to be, I think, realistic and conscious of where we are and where we want to go and be. And now it puts it on our plate to say, okay, a lot of people have done some things to give us an opportunity to close some bit of the gap. Now our job as coaches, our job as a team, and our job as players is to find a way to close the rest of that gap.
So that's about his best answer so far. Again, gets a little bit off track with worrying about what fans and other people think about money and how it affects the program. But the core of that message was good. The core of that message is something that is important, that he's acknowledging there is a gap, and that gap has to be closed, and he needs to close it as fast as possible. So I come away from that encouraged.
I feel pretty good about it too. I'll say I heard from real quick a quote that stands out and really applies to this one is Ryan Poles addressing Max Crosby stuff, the Chicago Bears GM, and basically saying that if you listen to people that are giving you advice from the stands, you're going to be in the stands with them too. So it's kind of that fair balance of, hey, I hear what the fans are saying, I hear what they're addressing, I hear their concerns, but if I'm trying to do everything to please the fans, then before I know it, I'm going to be out there with them. So I think it's one of those it's those situations where you got to balance it, but also recognize too, like, hey, you know what, we got to close the gap out here. We got to be more competitive. It's not just about money. Money doesn't solve all, like you said in the last one too. If the Badgers can find that balance of coaching, still, like you said too, Riley, building the relationships, making sure that these guys are NFL ready. They're coming to Wisconsin for the right reasons. That's what should be at the forefront. So I respect them for that.
Yeah, I think I really appreciate the accountability and acknowledging that they aren't where they are supposed to be right now. And I think that this puts the onus correctly on him and the coaching staff for this upcoming season, that now the investment is there. There is a gap. It's on them. And if it doesn't happen this upcoming year, there's probably going to need to be some changes made, or there's going to need to be a reckoning if some things don't change, and relatively drastically this upcoming year.
As we continue the conversation here, this one gets under my skin a little bit, but let's hear Luke Fickell.
Just a little bit.
Well, there's two sides to every story. I guess that's what I'll get to. But let's hear Luke Fickell on Wilde Tausch. That you can stream this on the ESPN Wisconsin app and watch the interview on the ESPN Madison or ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube stream. Luke Fickell talking about college football agents.
Regardless of whatever it is that you have, so you have some flexibility there. The difference in college is, in the NFL, if you're drafted or somebody has your rights, the agent's working for Tausch, you know better. 2, 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks on a contract. In college, you got this lunatic head coach that's, breathing down your neck, saying every minute that this thing is not done and signed and whatever it is that they want and changed, and if we're not signed, every minute he's talking to somebody else. It's not every day. It's not every week. It's like, all right, we got a week and a half to figure this contract. No, we don't. We have the next 10 minutes to figure this contract out, because if we get off the phone with this agent and we don't figure this out and we don't get the red tape cut, he's talking to somebody else. And so I don't know if anybody thought that they were going to be working like this, and for sure the NFL agents that are used to a structure that they were. I'd be curious if they recognize, like, why are these guys so crazy and adamant about, like, not hanging up the phone and getting this done? Like, no, I'll send you an email and we'll talk on Monday. Like, no, we won't. No, it's 5:00 on Friday and I'm going to dinner with my family. I don't care. Like, I believe that at 6:00 on Friday you'll be talking to somebody else, and so I don't want that to happen. So I don't know if there's really any structure. I know for us that had a lot to do with it.
Sounds like they've been burned a few times, and I get that. Yeah, but to me, everything's still relationships, and I'm not saying that these agents are all the most scrupulous people, and I'm not saying that they are people that every one of them is fully trustworthy and all that. But let's not pretend in the NFL that when someone's a free agent, they're not getting phone calls from every single team every single second. And so it ain't that different. And so if you find the agents and you build the relationships with the agents like you did with your coaches, because how is it different if a player gives you a handshake in 1980 when your word is your bond and you give that handshake and that meant a lot? Like, how is it different if someone else comes? It's the same idea. In the 80s, someone could come knocking on that door too. So the commitment's the commitment. And if you're recruiting someone who you don't trust them to be able to, and I'm not saying wait all the time, but I just feel like the Badgers have some work to do to improve their relationships with agents if they're always worried about an agent undercutting them or not having their players' best interest at heart.
Yeah, again, it's to echo off of you, build the relationships. Like I said at the start of this show, too, it is an adapt or die situation. You can't It's our way or the highway. You have to find out, how do you build those relationships? How do you make sure that, I wouldn't say the status quo, or, that things are good. Things are good, or if there's a conflict here, there's a conflict. I mean, we go back to what the Kelly Sheffield show, what he had said, too, a little bit of the inside baseball with that controversy of what the agent might have been feeding to a couple players. And it's, it's for me, I think the word that comes to mind right now is troubling in a way, maybe a little bit more of the skeptic side, just because, again, you hope that if you're the player and if you're being represented, you believe that you are being represented by the right person, right? You hope that they have the right intent. You hope that they're doing everything that they can to put you in the best situation. But I also believe, too, that it's just like I would want to not believe that anyone's going in there to take advantage of a situation, but what is the cut that they're getting to? Is that what's at the forefront of the agent's mind? And again, I'm kind of coming from the skeptic side of this because I don't know what it is like on that agent side for these players and who is an agent these days. But I could understand the frustrations and the burn feelings and all that and just the extra layer now that you have to take. But to put a bow on it, it is about building those relationships, right? It's about making sure that you are as on good of terms with the player as you are with the agent.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but before I give a take on this, as someone who's just interested in the inner workings of college football and trying to figure out how this new system of the transfer portal and NIL works, this was a fascinating answer.
Yeah.
Really interesting, and I really enjoyed it and appreciated that he was so candid about it because clearly, like you said, Jim, he's either been burned a few times or just isn't a fan of agents in general in college football. But I thought Luke Fickell sounded so paranoid in this clip. He sounds so nervous about the agent's talking to someone else. And that's probably how it is. I believe it. But it also speaks to, he knew that going in, that they had to, if this agent has a dinner at 5 p.m. and they're talking at 4:45, he's got to hammer out that contract by 4:55, whatever it is. And it's just really, really interesting, and it speaks to that they had a plan going in. They were aggressive. They knew they had to get deals done, and they got them done. So they didn't get everyone they wanted, but I'm glad they got who they got in this setting.
There might be tight windows, but it doesn't feel like it's professional if you're rushing the process like this. Let me be honest on that one. It does not.
Yeah, no, he's referred to it as speed dating. He talked about it as speed dating yesterday in the press conference and today in the interview.
Yeah, it's just, for me, it just doesn't feel professional. I don't know what you guys think or how you feel about that. Like, I just don't like the rushing of the process of that.
Yeah. As someone whose day job is getting people to partner with us, I know I've failed if I'm worried about them signing with someone else if they haven't signed the paper fast enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's not recruiting, but it's not a zero-sum game like football. Like, there's one player. One person's going to get one, and the other person's going to get zero. But there's still dollars that could be going to someone else. There could be other things that there's a lot of competition for that money. And I know from that perspective that for me, if I am worried about them signing and coming back or signing up, if I leave their site, I didn't do a very good job. And I know these are business owners as opposed to kids, and it's not apples to apples, probably apples to bananas or something. But I just wanted to put that out there, that the best business partnerships are built through relationships, and there has to be a little bit of a trust that if I tell you that we want to do this and this is right, we're just going to do it. So we're going to sign it and we're going to get this contract to you, but we want to make sure it's right.
Trust is a two-way street.
And I think that's why Fickell said also yesterday in his press conference and today in the interview that 80% of the guys that they brought in through the transfer portal, they had relationships with previously. Someone on the coaching staff coached them, recruited them at a different school, knows their high school coach, something along those lines. So I think a lot of it was relationship-based, and that speaks to all the effort that they had to put in ahead of time. They had to do, they had a lot of time with no bowl game this year, but they had to put a lot of effort into researching, finding these guys so they could attack the portal right off the bat when it opened.
All right, let's get to the last clip from talk over that. Let's get to the last clip from Luke Fickell on Wilde Tausch.
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, he's a winner, and he's a leader, and we were able to evaluate a lot of game film. It's not, a guy that, maybe played 4 or 5 or 6 games. You had a lot of things that you could evaluate. We do, and I do love the ability for a guy that can be a dual threat, meaning doesn't mean he has to run the football all the time. That's not, hey, we're looking for a guy that can run the ball. No, but we were looking for a guy that obviously can extend plays. We're looking for a guy that has athleticism to get himself out of trouble, that can use his feet when he needs to use his feet, but yet he still has the arm strength, because in this league, if you're not balanced, you can't be successful. If you can't push the ball down the field, it's really difficult to be successful because you can't loosen up the box. And so for us, he possessed all those things that we could see on film, and then the things that we could do a study outside of some of that, knowing people that were around him that we truly felt like was the target for us from the get-go.
There's nothing really revolutionary said there from Luke Fickell, but I do like the fact that it sounds like Colton Joseph was their guy and they went and got their guy. And they wanted to be intentional with it. They wanted to be strategic with it. They wanted the quarterback to fit their system. So I'm going to give thumbs up on that, because how he's going to jump from the Old Dominion sort of competition to Badgers in Big Ten, I don't know. But if they trust their scouts and they trust Jeff Grimes and they trust the people that job is to figure out if Colton Joseph can fit and make that jump up, and he fits the type of offense they want to run, and hopefully he's durable, then I think it's the right move. But realistically, they had a plan, they worked a plan, they executed the plan. And I'm good with that. That's fine for recruiting. If it's wrong, it's wrong, but at least you had a plan and you executed that plan.
This is a good stepping stone to a monumental win in this category, if you will, because this is a guy that they wanted to go after. This is a top target at this position, at a big position for this team that they wanted to, of course, we all understand that we wanted to tackle. Granted, I was on the Carter Smith train into the season, but now seeing that Colton Joseph is the guy that's coming in, I'm very much on board with this one. Of course, if we could just wrap him in a bubble, that would be fantastic up until week 1. But truly, I think what I tip my hat off to, again, like you said, to the scouting department, to everybody, that if they believe that this is the guy that fits the right system, this is the guy who does it the right way, this is the guy who has all the intangibles, if you will, like all the skill sets to improve this offense, to take them to the next step, but has, again, they've been keeping their eye on this guy and they ended up landing him. I give my kudos to Wisconsin, because we've seen swings and misses before. Hey, we're in on this conversation, but this guy ended up going this way. I don't know how much Caleb Williams actually was going to come to Wisconsin in general for that history. I don't think that was a legitimate thing, but that would have been cool.
You think they didn't know NIL now? You think they didn't know how to do NIL now? Yeah.
Man, that would have been something. But yeah,
they took him to Taco Bell on State Street, and we're like, look at our city.
Yeah, it's at 2 a.m.
How many gift cards do you want? You can have all the Badger gear you want.
Come on by.
It's all yours.
Yeah,
it's all yours.
It's but I'm excited. Again, I'm still on the side that you are, though, Jim. If we've had this conversation, you got to show it to me now. You got to prove it on the field. You've done the work that you can, or if you've done the right things that you believe you've done. All right, well, now show it. If you feel like that, if you're bringing, 32 recruits and 15 freshmen, so that's 47 new players and 47 new guys onto this roster next year. If you're going to do that, make sure that the product is just as good as how much you're touted now.
Yep, echoing what you guys said, I think this is a microcosm of the Badgers' portal approach for everyone this year, this entire offseason. They had a plan, and they executed it. So now we're going to learn this season, how good is Luke Fickell as a head coach, and how good is he as a talent evaluator, which I think has been one of the biggest knocks. Like, why was Braden Locke our backup quarterback for 2 years? And now we're going to learn, do the guys that they brought in, do the guys that they wanted have the talent that they think they did? And I, for one, am very, very excited to find out.
And I mean, I'd say one more thing too. If we were being promised that more resources were being pushed into this, have they utilized those resources a lot more better? Have they put them in better places? Have they spent, if you will, spent money and spent the right resources on the right players that could make the impact? It's another thing to think about.
J&K Security Solutions can impact your business and your home. They can help with home security. They can help with commercial fire protection, and they can help with commercial security. So whether you want to protect the most important things from anywhere in the world for your home or business, reach out to locally owned, family owned, and veteran owned J&K Security Solutions. This was a fun jump around. I know it's a little different. We didn't do the Twitter portal. We didn't do clip of the day. We did all the clips that we thought were important from Wilde and Tausch earlier today.
I've actually got one quick thing that I pulled up on Twitter. Unfortunately, we don't have it pulled up.
An abbreviated Twitter.
An abbreviated one from Front Office Sports put out Curt Cignetti's order from Indiana real quick from a popular taco burrito chain. We won't give out free pub, but chicken, brown rice, black beans, and a side of guacamole. Would you guys just go with that, or you got to put more stuff on that?
No,
go with the Curt Cignetti bowl.
That sounds terrible. No.
Sounds pretty bland. Yeah. That sounds like
it's
Curt
called
Cignetti.
The Curt Cignetti I Win Bowl. 35 grams of protein,
it's called,
though. That's what he has every day for lunch. Would you have that every day for lunch?
No, bland and effective, I guess, which is how you could describe Indiana football.
Got the job done. It's the national championship bowl for a reason, I guess.
Yeah, the state of Indiana is bland, and their football team is effective.
That'll play.
All right.
With protein.
All right, this is the jump around on the ESPN Madison and ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube stream. Nice work, Riley.